Good morning. I'm Carlos Amesco. Straight ahead on Early Edition, a mother and son separated by a global kidnapping ordeal are homeward bound. The FBI calls them killers on a cross-country murder spree, and their next stop may be California. Plus, health officials zero in on the mysterious illness that swept over a cruise ship. Early Edition is next.
Live from Los Angeles, Carlos Amezcua, Michelle Ruiz, Mark Christie, Eric Spillman, Jim Newman, and Jennifer York in Skycam 5 report the KTLA Morning News Early Edition.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It's, of course, the Jewish holiday, Rosh Hashanah, so Happy New Year to all of you. And, well, it's time to check in with Jennifer. I'm back from a day off yesterday at Labor Day. I guess they had a successful Jerry Lewis telethon, Jennifer?
Absolutely. Very, very successful. I don't know how much money they went over, but they did go over their total the last year. It's really wonderful. I hope you can hear me okay, Carlos. Is
You're kind of broken up, but there you are. There you now you're perfect, as
So you're
always.
by yourself today. Michelle's not with you?
No, Michelle took the day off for the holiday.
Oh, wonderful. So you're by yourself. Well, good morning. Welcome back. We always miss you when you're gone.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
I'm
Thanks.
just saying. Well, good morning. We have a lot working in traffic. First of all, a problem coming out of the Cahuenga Pass. Be careful. Southbound 101, the Highland off-ramp completely shut down because of an overturned car that remains on its side. You cannot exit at Highland. It'll kind of catch you off guard there if you're whizzing out of that Cahuenga Pass. So do be careful if you're planning to drive through the Cahuenga Pass on that southbound 101. Again, the Highland off-ramp completely shut down. Now, the southbound side of the 110 at Gage, they are saying that the 4 right lanes are blocked. So we're going to check that out for you as well. Westbound side of the 60 at San Gabriel, they're saying that a bobtail truck went over the side of the freeway. West 60 at San Gabriel. That's right in the Montebello area. And a West 91, just a horrendous commute this morning, backed up all the way to McKinley out of the Riverside area. Do keep this in mind and leave early if you can, especially if you're driving from the Riverside or Hemet areas. West 91, very tough all the way through Corona into Anaheim Hills. Jennifer York, Skycam 5. Back to you, Carlos, in the studio.
Okay, Jen, thanks very much for that. Let's check our Tuesday weather now. The current temperature in L.A. is a warm 71 degrees. Our forecast is calling for sunny skies and hot temperatures later today. The mercury will push well into the 90s for the valleys. Downtown L.A. should top out at 91 degrees. Mark's going to be along in a moment with the rest of the forecast. First this morning in the news, an Arcadia mother and her kidnapped 2-year-old son are on their way home this morning after an emotional reunion in London. The boy was allegedly taken to Iraq by her estranged husband in July. Michelle Asanari spoke to reporters after flying into New York. She says she worked out a deal with her husband to bring the boy to London. British police were waiting at Heathrow Airport and snatched the boy away from the father as soon as he stepped off the plane. She then explained her son's reaction when he saw her.
He had a smile from ear to ear, and he was quiet, but he was just focused in on me and my reaction, I think, and I was crying and overwhelmed.
Her husband, Khalid al-Nassari, has been arrested and is now awaiting extradition to the U.S. Michelle al-Nassari had to take out a $15,000 loan for the rescue operation. She even lost her job as a paralegal because her efforts were very time-consuming. 3 children remain hospitalized following a weekend boating accident that claimed the life of a young boy. 15 children and 4 adults were on board a 24-foot boat when it capsized off Long Beach Sunday evening. They were in 60-degree water for several hours before they were spotted and rescued. A hospital official says it's amazing most of them survived the ordeal. The adults reportedly kept the children alive by placing them on the overturned hull of that boat. Federal health officials have now identified the cause of last week's disease outbreak aboard the cruise ship. Hundreds of people became ill with what experts are now calling shigellosis, a bacterial sickness. But so far, officials at the Centers for Disease Control aren't sure of what led to the outbreak. Aboard the Royal Caribbean ship Viking Serenade, an estimated 600 passengers and 40 crew members came down with shigellosis, the condition that causes diarrhea, vomiting, and fever. One passenger, an elderly Long Beach man, died on the trip. Royal Caribbean officials hope to have the ship ready for its next scheduled trip by Friday. The LA Sheriff's Department has launched an intense probe into Sunday's deadly accident at Castaic Lake. A jet skier was killed in an apparent hit-and-run accident with another jet ski operator. Detectives are now searching for witnesses.
There were two people involved in the rescue of this man from the water. One was his friend who he was jet skiing with, and the other was a man who were looking to find out his identity. That man apparently stayed with our victim while he was in the water, and at some point when the rescue was made, disappeared from the lake.
51-year-old Ron Ellis died at a nearby hospital. His partner apparently didn't see the collision, but it's believed he was rear-ended by another jet skier. Investigators are awaiting autopsy results to pinpoint the exact cause of Ellis's death. This is the second fatality in 2 years involving watercraft crashes on Lake Castaic. In Truckee, along the California-Nevada border, federal investigators are trying to determine what caused a single-engine Cessna to crash yesterday morning, killing 4 people. The plane went down just seconds after it took off from the Truckee-Tahoe Airport. Emergency crews raced to the crash site just 700 feet past the end of the runway. But they were unable to save anyone from the burning wreckage. Officials say skies were clear and winds were light at the time of the crash. In Chatsworth, a pilot was forced to make an emergency landing near Winnetka Avenue and Prairie Street. His plane apparently ran out of fuel. The single-engine Cessna was able to land in a freshly plowed field. The emergency occurred around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. The co-pilot was about to report to the Van Nuys control tower that the plane was approaching. That's when the pilot realized he'd run out of fuel. Neither the pilot nor co-pilot were injured. Well, the 3-day holiday weekend is over. Some motorists encountered highway headaches, of course. Look at this. A big rig accident tied up the westbound 91 freeway for a long while. California Highway Patrol reports 21 people were killed statewide in traffic accidents. Now, that is apparently down from last year. Drunk driving arrests were also down. In the O.J. Simpson case, the district attorney's office is struggling with the question of whether or not to seek the death penalty against him. Stan Chambers has details.
Superior Court Judge Lance Ito has asked the district attorney's office to let him know as soon as possible if they're going to ask for the death penalty. The district attorney's office, which first promised a decision by the end of August, now says its announcement will not be made until at least September 19th. Attorney James Leo Terrell talked about some of the factors that will determine the DA's decision on the death penalty.
The first factor is whether or not there's premeditation, but that's negated by the fact that this is a crime of passion. There's the subjective factor as to whether or not a crime of passion should warrant a death penalty. Most jurors are reluctant to commit or to convict a person of the death penalty on a crime of passion.
And there are strong reasons why the DA would not seek the death penalty.
O.J. Simpson's status as a celebrity and the fact that most jurors are opposed to the death penalty. And the DA has to take into consideration whether or not moving for the death penalty would undercut the possibilities of getting a conviction against O.J. Simpson for the charge of the double murders.
Judge Ito said the death penalty decision would affect how he drafts a jury questionnaire and plans his trial schedule. The questioning of jurors in a death penalty trial takes longer than a case that involves the maximum possibility of life imprisonment. There are those who say jurors willing to impose the death penalty are more likely to convict. A committee of 7 senior prosecutors are discussing and considering that death penalty issue for the DA's office. The O.J. Simpson trial is scheduled to begin before the end of this month. Stan Chambers, KTLA Morning News.
Well, Labor Day 1994 is history, but there are still a number of warm and pleasant days ahead in California. Here in the Southland, the unofficial end of summer was marked by a record number of people at the beach. 70-degree temperatures in the air and also in the water. Cool ocean breezes lured thousands from inland communities. An estimated 500,000 people flocked to the shoreline between Marina del Rey and Las Tunas. Another 325,000 hit county beaches from Point Conception to the Mexican border. Lifeguards up and down the coast say it was a crowded but relatively safe holiday on the beach. The next best thing to a day at the beach was a picnic in the park for a number of families in Los Angeles. That met a cookout at Griffith Park. The picnic menus range from traditional hamburgers and hot dogs to every imaginable kind of ethnic food on the grill. For most families, the biggest problem was finding a parking space near the perfect spot to lay out that picnic spread. Parking was a nightmare anywhere you went. Let's check in with Jennifer York with the somewhat back-to-work day today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know, we were flying over the beach yesterday, Carlos, and boy, did it look appealing.
Well, guess where I was?
Is that what you did?
We got up at 5:30 in the morning and went to the beach.
You're kidding.
No,
In the
we're not
dark?
kidding.
You went to the beach in the
We
dark?
went in the dark, and we had the best spot, and we stayed there and just played. It was great.
Did you use your sunblock?
Of course.
Very good. No, it looked like it was an absolutely divine day.
It was perfect. The water was like 75,
Ah.
so it was beautiful.
But we had a good day, too, you know, at the telethon. That
Oh,
was
I'm sure,
really,
yeah.
really wonderful. But
Sure
boy,
you
it
did.
looked like it was a gorgeous day outside. Well, good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is. Lots of folks have been going back to work. We've got a lot working in traffic. First of all, this is an accident on the Harbor Freeway southbound. The better locator is actually before Florence. This does involve an MTA bus and a badly damaged car. Now, I've been told that there were passengers aboard this bus. I don't know if there were any injuries. We do not know that yet. But originally, the 4 right lanes are blocked. Now we have the 2 right lanes blocked, southbound 110 before Florence. The backup extending now almost to Martin Luther King. So the backup is beginning to really build this morning on that southbound harbor. This is really unusual for a 611. Northbound side of the 110, not doing too bad. There's a steady stream of traffic, but the good news is the speeds are still pretty good this morning, heading all the way up into downtown through South Central. Again, look at that. That is the southbound backup this morning on that Harbor Freeway. Let's go ahead and go to some earlier Skycam 5 tape if we have it of a problem. It is now a signal alert on the Hollywood Freeway, southbound side. This is at the Highland off-ramp. As you can see, we've taped this in the dark. This is an overturned car on its side. The entire off-ramp is still shut down from the southbound Hollywood Freeway. Again, this is the Highland off-ramp. If you do need to exit in the area, go ahead and try Gower or Vine or Cahuenga. Those are all good alternates around this. But again, Highland off-ramp completely shut down until further notice. And look at the backup. Martin did a great job of taping this. It is horrendous this morning, already about 2 miles, extending into the Cahuenga Pass. So the southbound Hollywood, we've already got some problems there for you. The Highland off-ramp completely shut down until further notice. Now, headed to a problem reported on the westbound side of the 60 in the Montebello area at San Gabriel. They're saying a bobtail went over the side of the freeway, the backup to about the 605. We'll check on that. I'll have an update in my next report. I'm Jennifer York in Skycam 5 with the latest shadow traffic update.
Okay, Jen, thanks.
Okay.
Check with you in a minute. Well, the markets are back in action, and so is our action man, Jim Newman. We'll check with him in just a minute. Car thieves with blood on their hands may be headed to California. And a deadly attack by a pair of pit bulls. We'll show you what happened right after this break.
Good morning. This is KTLA, Los Angeles, California. KTLA operates on Channel 5 with an assigned frequency of 76 to 82 megahertz and a radiated power of 50,000 watts. KTLA's transmitter is located on Mount Alta, the highest point on Mount Wilson. KTLA is owned and operated by KTLA Incorporated, with studios and offices at 5800 Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles, California.